Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our respected lecturer, Madam Wan Roshaini Wan Ali. At first, let me introduce myself and my group members. My name is Rian Hidayat bin Rahim, along with Muhammad Alif Akmal bin Zulkifli, Hasha Baiti binti Cik Hashim, Siti Nur Afina binti Abdullah, and Aisyah binti Sobri are going to present about the impact of SMEs. So, let's get started. What is SMEs? Small and mid-sized enterprises are businesses that maintain revenues, assets, or a number of employees below a certain threshold. Each country has its own definition of what constitutes a small and mid-sized enterprises. Certain size criteria must be met, and occasionally the industry in which the company operates in is taken into account as well. Though small in size, SME play an important role in the economy. They outnumber large firms considerably, employ vast numbers of people, and are generally entrepreneurial in nature, helping to shape innovation. Governments regularly offer incentives, including favorable tax treatment and better access to loans to help keep them in business.
The discussion and critical analysis that we have from the article is why is entrepreneurship important. If you guys want to know, the entrepreneurship tends to vary across regions. All locals are known for generating clusters of dynamic firms which benefit from information, spillovers, and other intangible factors. All countries have local pockets with extremely high levels of entrepreneurial activity like Silicon Valley in the United States, Arezzo and Modena in Italy, Valencia in Spain, Nuremberg in Germany, and Northjo in Sweden. Culture, social and intellectual capital, and local networking influence the development of such firm links. The entrepreneurship can be of particular benefit to smaller firms which because of their size cannot finance in-house services such as training, research or marketing. Next, we will see how innovative are smaller firms. The data say that 30% to 60% of SMEs in the OECD areas are characterized as innovative in the broad sense. On average, they are less likely to conduct research and development (R&D) than larger firms, but they may be more likely to innovate in their ways through creating or re-engineering products or services to meet new market demands, introducing new organizational approaches to enhance productivity, or developing new techniques to expand sales. There is also a subset of high-growth small firms which are exceptional innovators. These SMEs are located in the top 5% to 10% of all growing firms. In most countries, their job creation rates exceed those of larger companies. On the other hand, about 25% of manufacturing SMEs are now internationally competitive, and this share would increase. About two-fifths of manufacturing SMEs draw between 10% to 40% of their turnover from cross-border activities. At present, SMEs contribute between 35% to 35% of world export of manufactures and account for a small share of foreign direct investment. These internationally active SMEs are generally growing faster than their domestic equivalents. Next, we will see what type of SME financing is needed. The venture capitalists provide more than equity capital to their portfolio companies. They also offer management assistance, performance monitoring, and the stage infusion of additional risk capital as the enterprise evolves. Venture capital can be supplied by specialized funds which raise money from a range of sources like private individuals, corporations, government agencies, pension funds, banks and insurance, companies, endowments, and foundations. Or it can be provided directly by the same range of investors. A well-functioning venture capital market is not only about financing, it is also about high-quality management of the information and the agency problems that arise when innovators, entrepreneurs, and financiers try to understand each other and cooperate in the launching of risk ventures. The SME also can be supplied by specialized funds which raise money from a range of sources. We can see this by around 80% of venture capital in Earth is invested in high-tech industries.
In this part of my presentation, I would like to talk about will SMEs be a factor in electronic commerce? The Internet's World Wide Web has become the prime driver of modern e-commerce that can be an important source of competitive advantage for most business organizations, especially small and medium-sized business. In recent years, researchers have focused on e-commerce adoption both in the United States and other countries. Back to my question, will SMEs be a factor in electronic commerce? As we know, the introduction of internet-based electronic commerce provides SMEs with numerous options to grow their customer base, penetrate new product market, and streamline their operations. Electronic commerce technologies have the potential to lead to significant productivity gains at firm level, especially when applied to business-to-business relation. Electronic technologies can lead to rationalization of business processes and cost savings. Besides, the smaller firms can use e-commerce to customize products and services, manage supply processes and inventories, and shorten the time between order and delivery. As an immediate impact, these technologies allow automation of common processes such as distribution, sales, after-sales service, and inventory management. Furthermore, SMEs generally adopt technology at a slower pace than the average firm. This could be due to internal impediments to SME e-commerce adoption, such as a lack of awareness of the complexities of electronic operations, insufficient skills, and the significant initial expenditure required to build a viable e-commerce strategy. Let's now move on to how can SMEs contribute to sustainable development. Smaller firms less cognizant of environmental externalities and the regulation that controls their activities than larger firms. This is because the small firm less resources available to spend in environmental enhancement and management tools. Small firms are those that keep within a specific low volume range of revenues, assets, and employees. The small firm administration's classification of small firms varies according to industry. Small firms fuel economic growth by increasing job opportunities and raising employment rates. Besides, small firms can fill market gaps in the development and sale of environmental goods and services. Market gaps are opportunities disguised as voids. A gap in the market is a place or area that current firms are not serving. For example, Netflix have filled several market gaps over the years. First, with its initial mail order, movie rentals, and then with its streaming platform. Whole Foods fills the market gap that occurred when health-conscious consumers wanted a central, convenient place to shop for organic, healthy, and natural food products. Every successful firm you can think of has served some sort of market gap.
Next is what type of SME financing needed. SMEs often having financing problems due to wide variance in the profitability, survival and growth of SMEs compared to larger firms. They lack of commercial experience and track record as entrepreneurs. To prevent such issue, venture capitalist is the perfect way to cope with the financial problem since it is a private equity investor that provides capital in exchange for an equity stake and funding startup ventures or supporting small companies that wish to expand their business. It provides more than equity capital can. This venture can be supplied by specialized funds which raise money from a range of sources. The examples are private individuals, corporations, government agencies, insurance companies, and foundations, or can be provided directly by investors. A well-functioning venture capital market is about more than just finance. It's about high-quality management of the information and agency issues that occur when investors, entrepreneurs, and funders try to comprehend and collaborate in the launch of high-risk businesses. As an example, in USA and Canada, more than 3/4 of capital investment funds the earlier phases and expansion of businesses, and around 80% of venture capital in the US is invested in high-tech industries. What should government do? Government should promote entrepreneurship, facilitate firm startup and expansion, and improve access to venture capital and other types of financing. But how? Now, governments are increasingly encouraging the creation of secondary stock markets to make it easier for venture capitalists to enter and exit the market. Moreover, the governments are lowering capital gains and other dividend taxes and also enabling more stock options to be used as remuneration in small businesses. Furthermore, the government's also adopting business angel networks which bring small companies and prospective investors together. What does it mean by business angel? Business angels or investor angels means people who invest their money in the initial phase of startup in exchange for a participation in capital. They also usually carry out the role of a mentor and offer their concern and experience to entrepreneurs. Besides that, promoting the SMEs can enhance their performance and competitiveness as small businesses who work together in clusters with the large businesses can gain the benefit while keeping the advantages of specialism and flexibility. In general, the government's engagement in cluster growth is indirect, focusing on supporting skills development and freeing up sources while overcoming barriers to more enterprise cooperation. Lastly, governments are mounting specialized services and action plans. Small company development units or agencies are tasked with supplying funding, reforming fiscal practices, decreasing administrative hassles, offering management and skills training, boosting information dissemination, and expanding market access. Finally, what is the role of the OECD? First is to discuss SME performance and policies. The employment and growth of small firms are compared based on the OECD indicators. The analysis on entrepreneurship, clustering, high-growth enterprises, management training, and internet commerce are created to highlight the current trends and attract attention to the challenges faced by SMEs. In order to discover best practices policies, policy approaches and programs in specific sectors such as SME funding and technology diffusion are also being investigated. Second, the OECD is also working to improve SME statistics. A business registration with full sectoral and size coverage as well as frequent updating is required to identify the population of SMEs. Enterprises should be observed to track survival rates and entry and leave trends across industries and across time. Lastly, OECD is to increase the collecting of comparable cross-country data on smaller businesses, especially women-owned business, notably through more comprehensive business registries without burdening these businesses with additional administrative or paperwork burdens.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, I'm Afina. Now, I'll present the originality of our path, logical and reasonables about the article given. From our observation and analysis, we think that SME is very important as it becomes a key of economic growth. This because it has a great job opportunities, increased innovation, ideas and skills, Besides, SME is a vital role in being service provider and traders to the primary industry. There are many challenges that SME need to face and the improvements that they need to do. One of them is the employment provided by SME are mostly temporary in nature. The reason is the fact that many SMEs fail before they reach the 5-year mark because of lack of sufficient capital and poor management skill. Therefore, they had to cease business operation in turn lay off their employees, where it leads to even more unemployment. Next, SME also depend on innovation in order to survive. This will give a continuous pressure for SME to make innovation and also create new options, result in uncertainty and confusion. The best way for SME to sustain is they should focus more on the improvement and of their product and service provided. For example, SME offer their product and service with high quality performance and give the cheapest price to the customer. In addition, SME require a convenient and encouraged environment in order to sustain in the business world. This is related to the tight policies, rules, and regulation where it prevents SME from development and creation. It also becomes issue for SME to pay their taxation as their income earned more lower than the income of big company. Hence, the government can create entrepreneur-friendly policies. Lastly, SME should develop their digital and technology adoption. As we know, SME is much lagging behind in the use of technology compared to other large corporate companies. This is very significant because the technology is essential tool for enhance their market. Additionally, now with the coronavirus pandemic, all communications, operation and even transaction take place online, which requires more expertise in the field of technology.
As for the conclusion, there are a lot of impacts of SMEs towards the business world and it brings benefits to everyone. SMEs should keep maintaining the stats and keep growing so that people can open their eyes about the strength of SMEs in the global markets. Everyone should play a big role for SMEs to sustain in the industry and makes people more confident to get into SMEs. Thus, SMEs have both pros and cons. It is only with precision and care that the government can encourage entrepreneurship by creating business-friendly policies and easy financing options. Liberal policies encourage prospective entrepreneurs to take the plunge and create value for themselves as well as society in the end. In the long term, SMEs can produce a substantial rise in income, opportunities, and the overall GDP. If the business environment is conducive and supportive to the new businesses, they will not only generate more employment, but also create a variety of products and services for the consumer to choose. So that's all from us. Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.